All right, let's dive into the different types of viruses responsible for causing the common cold. The two primary culprits we'll be focusing on today are rhinoviruses and coronaviruses. Rhinoviruses are the most common cause of the cold, accounting for around 50% of all cases. There are over 100 different strains of rhinoviruses, which is one of the reasons why it's so difficult to develop a vaccine or build immunity to the common cold. These viruses primarily target the upper respiratory tract, resulting in symptoms like a runny nose, sore throat, and sneezing. On the other hand, coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that can cause a range of illnesses, from the common cold to more severe respiratory diseases like SARS, MERS. When it comes to causing the common cold, there are 4 main strains of coronaviruses, responsible for about 20% of cold cases. Like rhinoviruses, these viruses usually result in mild to moderate upper respiratory tract infections. It's important to note that there are other viruses that can cause the common cold as well, such as adenoviruses, enteroviruses, and respiratory syncytial virus, RSV. However, rhinoviruses and coronaviruses are the most prevalent and well-known offenders in this case. Moving on to our second topic, let's discuss the transmission and spread of the common cold. It's important to understand how this illness is passed from person to person so that we can take appropriate precautions to prevent its spread. And the primary mode of transmission for the common cold is through respiratory droplets. When someone with a cold coughs, sneezes, or even talks, they release tiny droplets containing the virus into the air. If you happen to be nearby and breathe in these droplets, or if the droplets land on your eyes, nose, or mouth, you can become infected. This is why it's so crucial to cover your mouth and nose when you cough or sneeze, and to maintain a reasonable distance from others when you're feeling under the weather. Another way the common cold spreads is through contact with contaminated surfaces. The virus can live on surfaces like doorknobs, light switches, and even your phone for a few hours. If you touch these surfaces and then touch your face, you can introduce the virus into your body. This is why regular hand washing and disinfecting commonly touched surfaces are essential steps in preventing the spread of the cold virus. It's also worth noting that the common cold is highly contagious, and people are most contagious during the first 2 to 3 days of their illness. So if you're feeling unwell, it's a good idea to stay home and limit contact with others to reduce the chances of spreading the virus. Now that we've talked about the transmission of the common cold, let's investigate the body's immune response to this infection. The immune system plays a crucial role in fighting off the cold virus and protecting our health. When the cold virus enters our body, it triggers an immune response that involves several types of white blood cells. First, the macrophages, a type of white blood cell, identify and engulf the virus particles, helping to prevent the virus from spreading further. They also release chemicals called cytokines, which alert other immune cells to the presence of the virus. Next, the T cells come into play. These immune cells have the ability to recognize and destroy cells that have been infected by the virus. They also stimulate the production of B cells, another type of white blood cell responsible for producing antibodies. Antibodies are specialized proteins that can recognize and neutralize specific viruses. Once the B cells produce antibodies that target the cold virus, these antibodies can bind to the virus particles and prevent them from infecting other cells. This process helps to clear the virus from our system and contributes to our recovery. In addition to these immune cells, the inflammatory process also plays a role in fighting the common cold. Inflammation helps to increase blood flow to the infected area, bringing more immune cells and nutrients to the site of infection. While this process is helpful in combating the virus, it can also contribute to the symptoms we experience, such as congestion, sore throat, and coughing. It's fascinating how our body's immune system works together to recognize and eliminate the cold virus, all in an effort to keep us healthy and on our feet. Let's now examine the symptoms and clinical manifestations of the common cold. Matthew, it's essential to understand these symptoms and how they differ from more severe respiratory illnesses like the flu, so we can recognize the signs and take appropriate action. The common cold typically presents with a variety of symptoms, including 1. Sore throat. Often one of the first signs of a cold, a sore throat can range from mild discomfort to severe pain when swallowing. 2. Nasal congestion. As the cold virus infects the nasal passages, they become inflamed and produce more mucus, leading to that familiar stuffy nose sensation. 3. Coughing. Coughing is a protective reflex that helps clear mucus and irritants from the respiratory tract. In the case of a cold, coughing is usually mild and dry. 4. Sneezing. Sneezing is another protective reflex that helps expel mucus and irritants from the nose, and it's a common symptom of the cold virus. Number 5. Mild fatigue and headache. Some people may experience mild fatigue and headaches as their immune system fights off the cold virus. It's important to note that the common cold symptoms are generally mild to moderate in severity and usually last for about 7 to 10 days. And on the other hand, the flu tends to cause more severe symptoms such as high fever, severe muscle aches, and extreme fatigue, and it often comes on more suddenly than a cold. Recognizing the difference between the common cold and the flu is crucial because the flu can lead to more severe complications, especially in high-risk individuals such as young children, the elderly, and those with weakened immune systems. If you suspect that you or a loved one may have the flu, it's important to seek medical attention promptly for appropriate treatment and care. Finally, let's discuss various prevention strategies and treatment options for the common cold. Since the cold is such a widespread and frequent illness, it's essential to know how to prevent it and manage its symptoms effectively. Prevention strategies include 1. Proper hygiene. Washing your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds can help reduce the risk of contracting the cold virus. If soap and water are not available, using hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol is a good alternative. 2. Avoiding close contact, keeping a reasonable distance from those who are sick, and staying home when you're unwell can help minimize the spread of the virus. Number 3. Disinfecting surfaces. Regularly cleaning and disinfecting commonly touched surfaces can help prevent the spread of the virus through contact with contaminated objects. When it comes to treatment, there's no cure for the common cold, but there are ways to manage its symptoms and make yourself more comfortable during the recovery process. Over-the-counter medications. Pain relievers such as ibuprofen or acetaminophen can help alleviate headaches and sore throats. Decongestants and antihistamines may help with nasal congestion and runny noses. However, it's important to follow the instructions on the label and consult a healthcare professional if you're unsure about which medication is appropriate for you or your child. 2. Staying hydrated, drinking plenty of fluids, such as water, tea, or soup, can help thin mucus and reduce congestion. So, rest. Giving your body ample time to rest and recover is key to overcoming the common cold. As for vaccine development, since there are hundreds of different strains of viruses that cause the common cold, developing a vaccine has proven to be quite challenging. However, ongoing research in this area may yield promising results in the future. In summary, while the common cold is an unavoidable part of life for most people, understanding its causes, transmission, and our body's response to it can help us take appropriate preventive measures and manage its symptoms effectively.